James Bond 60th anniversary model revealed. Scooby-Doo gameplay video finally released. Homepin explains This Is Spinal Tap delays.
Hi,
I can't get any higher.
my name is Jonathan Joosten. I'm the editor of Pinball Magazine, and I'm hosting this episode of the Pinball News and Pinball Magazine PINcast together with...
Me, Martin Ayub, and I'm the editor of Pinball News, and I'm here with Jonathan to look back at the fun and excitement that took place in the pinball world during the month of January 2023, which is just finished at the time of this recording.
So, Happy New Year, if we didn't say that. Did we say that?
I think we did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, sorry. So...
well, Happy New February, then.
Oh, thank you, yes. And the same to you.
Thank you.
So, on our previous episode, which we recorded actually the day prior to the reveal of James Bond's 60th anniversary game by Stern, we said, well, we only knew that it was going to be revealed, but we hadn't seen anything of it yet. So by now we're a month in, and of course the game was revealed around the CES show in Las Vegas. There were, I think, 2 different instances where the game was set up, although it wasn't at the CES show itself, but in neighboring hotels, I suppose you could call that.
Yeah, they had a sort of a side area set up for the preview of that game and some of the other James Bond games as well. So, as you say, it wasn't on the main show floor, but in a special Stern reserved area. Anyway, it was, as everybody expected, a very different game from the Pro, Premium and LE.
Well, it's a completely new design by Keith Elwin, of course.
Indeed, yeah. But more than that, it's a retro sort of throwback design, a single level game with not a huge amount on the playfield, I suppose it's fair to say. It does have an LCD.
It does have a rotating disc that reminds a little bit of Guns N' Roses, but in a different way.
Ah, yes, the spinning hat. Yes, that's right, Odd Jobs hat. And it has score reels, although 4 of them.
Yes.
And, in the back box.
Yes, and not the traditional ones. These are stepper motors, similar to what they used at on Wonelli Big Juicy Melons from almost.
Similar, but slightly. Well, they are upgraded significantly because they can move a lot faster. So I presumably have the accuracy needed in order to show the scores and to reset as they go across from different players.
Yeah, but they don't click, do they?
Well, they might do, and with sound effects, but intrinsically they don't. No. Yeah. But there are only 4 digits on it, which seems a bit of a shame to me. But I suppose probably fairly costly devices to build.
Yeah.
And I don't know if also that they sit where the LCD panel would normally sit on a Stern back box. So that whole LCD panel area has been replaced by almost like a blanking panel with 4 cutouts for the score reels to be visible through, and the rest of the area is lit up. Well, it has backlit in the old backglass style of backlighting, player number, ball
text,
number,
yes.
Tilt, all that kind of stuff, high score to date stuff.
Yeah, still a pity that they didn't use the entire backbox area front, so to speak, which probably would be difficult because what are you going to do with the speakers, which are in the speaker display panel, of course. But it would have been nice if it would have been the size of a Wonelli backglass, for example.
Yeah, I mean, there are obviously ways of attaching speakers to full backglasses, as we've seen with games like, Circus Voltaire.
Yeah, that's the first one that came to mind.
And, and Magic Girl, of course, as well, also does the same thing.
Yes.
So, yeah, they're all ways and means. And you think for the price, which we haven't mentioned yet, but was, as I think we trailed, it's up to distributors to set their own price, but the general price seems to be around about 20,000 US dollars, which Stern was selling a limited number through their own website, through their own store, at 19,995, I believe, was the price.
Yeah.
And then it's up to distributors to set their own. And I think the price has been dropping on that. I think I've seen them around about 17,000 from some distributors. But I suspect they will sell out, but they probably weren't. They weren't the sort of all sold out in within a minute of going on sale. Put it that way. And $20,000 is not really a surprise, I suppose. But and there are only 500 of them. I think that's
limited
correct.
to 500.
Yeah.
And I think this probably is a status symbol for James Bond fans, I suppose.
Wealthy James Bond fans.
Probably, and
which there are a lot, of course. There are plenty of people out there buying very expensive James Bond memorabilia and and branded merchandise like watches and things like that from. I'm trying to remember whether it's Omega who had the license for that or not, but I think it is. But there's people spend that sum of money easily on a James Bond watch, for instance.
Yeah. So what can you tell us about gameplay?
Well, it's funny you should mention that because I've got I haven't actually got an inside scoop on it because we haven't seen any.
Right. So basically, you're buying a pinball machine based on a bunch of pictures, and hopefully it will be fun when you get to play it. Now, it's a Keith Elwin design, so there's no doubt that it will play like butter. But we really haven't seen anything much in the way of things you would expect to be in the James Bond game. There was, I think it was promised previously that it would have multiple theme songs, assets from all the games. All the movies in the game. All 25. Is it 25 movies? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, six actors portraying James Bond. Well. Okay, they are portrayed on the game, and the movie posters are there as well. So in that sense, that is correct. But of course, we don't know what they're going to do with it. And with the game does have a display, albeit on the playfield. So they do have the possibility to show footage and so on, as we are used to see in the back box display. But since there is no
about that, is this the first Stern game with a playfield LCD actually in the playfield? I can't think of an earlier Stern title that does that.
Yeah, for Stern it might be a first indeed. Yes,
I mean, they had in playfield displays with games like Wheel of Fortune, where they had LED displays.
Yeah, or World Poker Tour.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's probably the one I was thinking of as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they had much bigger actually, wasn't it, World Poker Tour?
Yeah.
But not an actual LCD, I don't think, until now. So that's the first. But you'd hope they'd use that in slightly, to showcase some of the movie's assets. But we haven't seen any of that, and it could be because they're so busy working on the Pro Premium and LE software, which is still a long way to go.
Yeah, because they did update code on that, but they're currently at 0.84.
Yeah.
Which still sounds like a long way from 1.0.
It is a long way. That came out on January the 25th, and I don't know whether this is done deliberately to make it look like, to indicate there is a lot of work that's gone into it, because their list of changes to the code is very extensive, but it doesn't actually add an awful lot to the gameplay. There's lots of bug fixes and rule changes, and a few new display effects, and a couple of extra character modes, but it's still a long way from being complete. And some of the basic functionality you'd expect from a modern game, such as being able to stack modes and multi-balls together, aren't in there yet. So if you're playing a mode and you're just about to finish it and complete that character, and you accidentally launch yourself into a multi-ball, that completely wipes out all your progress on that mode, and you have to start again.
Sounds like a junior mistake to make, but...
Well, it's probably on one of those, coming later. We'll stack those later. We'll get them to run. Let's just get them coded first, and then we'll work out how to combine them.
Yeah.
Or it could be, the licensor doesn't want that. I've heard that mentioned as a possibility, that they don't want assets from different movies being combined. If you've got a mode and a multi-ball running, and the mode is related to one movie and the multi-ball is related to another, then it's a mix of assets, and you might get call-outs from different movies. So maybe that's the reason. But even so, it's not what you'd expect from a modern title, particularly not a Stern one.
Right. Okay. Well, they're building them anyway. So.
They're shipping. Yeah. And,
but there's more news from Stern besides James Bond as well. I'm trying to wrap this up because I'm sort of in a rush.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Well, there's
no pun intended, by the way.
There's lots of news. Oh no, please. There's lots of news, but there's no big news this month. So let's carry on.
So Insider Connected, that feature that keeps your phone connected to the pinball and your scores and so on, that offers a year in review feature, which is basically summarizing your pinball accomplishments of 2022 in this case, which I suppose if you're into that, it's a nice feature. But then again, I've seen similar year in review features from Facebook or other things, and I'm like, I was there. You don't have to remind me about that. I know about it.
Yeah, I get that from like Google Maps or something. Your year of travel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes, I was there. Yeah, I did that. Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure, as you say, if you're really into collecting your achievements and want to see them, how you did throughout 2022, it's probably more useful when you've got a few years of summarising, to look back on, so you can see which was your busiest year and where you made the biggest gains, where you played the most games, I suppose, as well. If you're into collecting those things.
Yeah, so, well, as mentioned, Stern attended CES, the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. I think they had like 5 games or so present, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't count them. I think Gary Stern was there, at least briefly. Seth Davis was there. He was on the Stern's Facebook. There's actually a video of Seth Davis talking passionately about what a success it was for Stern. So good for them.
What, the show or?
That's not exactly clear. I think I watched the video, and because I don't remember exactly, didn't find it. I find it amusing to see Seth Davis doing such a video, but I watched it like a month ago. So forgive me for not remembering exactly.
Fair enough. Okay. But that wasn't the only show they were at, of course.
No. Tell me more.
Well, they were... Stern were represented on the Electrocoin stand at the EAG International Expo, which was held in London in January.
Yeah, usually we visit that show together, but this year I had to pass. Sorry. Yeah,
well, that's understandable. There wasn't a huge amount of interest pinball-wise in that, and if you want to see more about that show, you can of course go to Pinball News and read my report and watch the video of what was actually at the show. We'll have a little bit more about what was there pinball-wise a bit later, but Stern were represented on an Electrocoin stand with 5 machines, a James Bond Pro and a Premium, Godzilla, a Rush, and Jurassic Park. They didn't have the 60th anniversary Bond machine there, or at least not publicly. I don't think they actually did have one. I remember last time we were there, they had Stranger Things.
Yes,
was being previewed in one of the conference rooms at the back. I don't think they were doing that this year with James Bond 60th. They were. I didn't see anybody I didn't talk to anybody who was invited to it. Right. So I don't think that happened. They were running their usual insider connected leaderboards on the titles, on the 4 titles, James Bond, Godzilla, Rush, and Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I saw an interesting comment that everybody was playing the Pro because they played. You got higher scores on that than on the Premium.
Yeah, they joined together the scores on the Pro and the Premium, which is a bit weird because, as you say, the Pros are much easier to get the high score on. So I certainly had the high score on that for at least 5 minutes before somebody else came along and took it away. And that was on day 2. But fortunately, the person who came along took it away, Greg, wasn't able to log me out of my Pinball News Insider Connected account. So it got registered to me, which was nice.
So you won.
Well, I don't know. I wasn't there on the last day, and there were no prizes anyway. But just bragging rights. But yeah, he got to put his initials in, but it was using my Insider Connected account, so that was a bit weird.
Okay.
But the games were very popular and played pretty much all the time. And although I'm trying to think who was there, Doug Score was there. Gary Stern was there,
John
Buscaglia was there, and I saw all of them very, very briefly. But it was kind of, you'd see them walk up to the stand, and you kind of followed them up to the stand, and then when you got there, they weren't there. So they were obviously busy doing other things.
Right.
They weren't hanging around the stand talking to people very much, a little bit, but you had to be quick if you wanted to catch them. So that was really Stern at EAG International Expo on the Electrocoin stand.
And then there were 2 trade shows that Stern was attending. There's other trade shows coming up soon, so we might report on that as well.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's a couple of personal announcements. I suppose Michael Grant, who came from American Pinball like a year and a half ago or something like that, who was a marketing manager at Stern, has been appointed to being senior manager of location entertainment. And it looks to me like he's still doing the same thing that he was doing before. So
seems to be very similar. Responsible for managing, developing, and expanding Stern Army, Stern Pinball Street Team, a worldwide network of brand ambassadors that promotes organised league and tournament players Stern pinball games in public locations.
Yeah.
So that sounds like fun. To be able to get to go to lots of different arcades and breweries and talk to the people who look after the pinball there and help expand play of league and tournaments with particular reference to Stern pinball machines. So
right. Okay.
Yeah, sounds like a pretty good job to me.
Right. I also received a press release from Stern announcing the appointment of Erica Fromm as Chief Technology Officer. And she's basically, she was already part of the development of Insider Connected, and basically that was developed through an outside company. And basically they hired her now to continue the innovation, as they call it, at Stern in-house, so to speak.
Yes, that's right. She's working for Stern rather than with Stern.
Right. So congratulations to both, I suppose. And you can probably tell us about all the code updates that we haven't discussed yet. Well,
there was only one, really, and that was the Star Wars, which received a late update to version 1.23. Not a huge amount of change to it, to be honest. There's just some display changes for the Insider Connect stuff, and there was a slight tweak to the skill shot if the ball drained straight away. But other than that, it was just adding or bringing it up to date with the sort of the base system, so it's more in line with all the features that the other games have got, particularly as far as connectivity icons and signal strength meters and all that kind of stuff. And that's it. The rest of it's just boring node board updates. So that's enough of that.
Yeah, so I did see a production schedule for Stern for the second half of 2023, which said that Star Wars will be back into production the second half of this year. So it makes sense that they update minor details as the game is going to be produced later on. So
and that's presumably a predictive. Production schedule liable to change.
Absolutely,
things have been quite variable of late. And, okay, but anyway, yes.
Okay, so that rounds it up for.
I think it does.
Stern Pinball. Well, good night. And wait, there's other companies too.
There are. Yes, other people are still making pinball.
Yeah.
And you may remember that one of them we spoke about last month was. Spooky Pinball and their new Scooby-Doo Where Are You game, which had been announced.
Yes. And then it took like a whole month before we finally got to see some gameplay.
Yeah, it was originally going to be shown very soon afterwards, soon after the launch, but was then deferred until, basically just the other day, wasn't it? Well, less than a week ago, I think, when we got to see... the first in-house play of the game, and because the games aren't shipping yet, those are the only games that exist.
So apparently Spooky is building what they call like early bird games or so, which are basically meant that they go out to a selected buyers and so on. Who get to sort of test the game, and then they get to improve it and improve the build process and what have you. So they're working on that, and they are sharing a lot of photos on their social media. So the place is packed with Scooby-Doo pinballs in various stages of being built. You might wonder, do they have enough room? Well, there was an article in the Telegraph Herald on Spooky Pinball in which they basically announced that they are hiring across the street another building which is a similar size of where they are now. So they're doubling in size, and that place will become the production facility, and the other will be more like a storage, or the other way around, whatever. So not that important, but good news for Spooky that they are doubling in size, at least in terms of housing, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right. Production and storage space. Yes, and hopefully give them the opportunity to increase the rate of production. They haven't got all the stored games in the same building.
Yeah, what they also increased, by the way, thanks for that bridge, is the roster of voice talent for the Scooby-Doo game, as they also announced Scott Innes as a voice talent, and Scott has voiced most of the villains in almost all Scooby-Doo cartoon episodes, I suppose. Which is why they sound all the same. But no, aside from that, he's going to add a lot to the game, doing all the voice work for the villains and who knows what else. So, congrats to Scott and to Spooky as well for getting Scott on board.
Yeah, it should have a really good. Big range of call-outs for that game, by the sounds of it. The number of different voice actors they have involved in Scooby-Doo.
Right.
So we're looking forward to hearing that. In the gameplay video the other day, there was a certain amount, but not really as many as going to be in it at the end. You get the feeling that we only sort of just touching the surface of what's actually going to be in the final software release. So yes, it should be sonically very impressive. So let's hope the rest of the game lives up to that.
Yeah. So, and while we're speaking of software on the game. On various social media, Spooky announced, or confirmed, I should say, that Ben Heck is coding Spooky's next game. So that's not Scooby-Doo, but the one after that. And Eric Pripke, who has also been involved in various games for Spooky, is also coding one of Spooky's upcoming games, which means they have more than one title in development.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that sort of rounds it up for Spooky.
Yeah, well, I guess just before we move on completely, I think they're going to be busy building Scooby-Doo for quite some time yet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they haven't sold out.
I was going to mention
of the production run.
I think a lot of people are waiting to see what the code is doing after experiences with previous games.
Yeah, I mean, the total run is capped at 1,969, I believe, for all varieties, not any particular division between the standard, the bloodsucker, and the or whatever the top range is called, the limited edition, but they're all limited. But if they do sell out all near 2,000 of those, that's going to keep them busy producing for. They said at the start that if you order towards the end, you could be waiting up to 18 months.
Wow.
For your game. So if you're at the back of the order queue,
that doesn't make any sense actually. But I mean, if let's say the production of this game is lasting for a year. I mean, 2,000 games. I think that's Spooky is capable of cranking out 2,000 games at least a year, I'd say. I mean, they're building like 100 games a week.
Well, that's.
I mean, that's what I read somewhere. So, okay, don't quote me on that.
Yeah. No, that's that sounds an awful lot of games to be producing a week.
Right.
But I could believe, but.
So anyway, you'd think that if you order a game while everybody already has them, theirs, and they're only producing it for the next 2 months. You don't have to wait 18 months for that. You have to wait 2 months because you're at the end of the line anyway. So, yeah, I mean that's my logic on that. But
yeah, I think there's some doubt over the maths there. But we won't get stuck on that or bogged down on it too much because that was just what they said in their initial press release. So I think that could have just been, of course, a spur to get people to order up front as early as possible.
Right. Well, then you're definitely waiting maybe 18 months.
Yeah. But anyway, as you said, we had finished with Spooky. So let's, who should we go to next?
Well, let's do Multimorphic. It's right on top of my screen.
Okay. Well, that's as good a reason as any. And so they've been sharing some social media and activity. They've had... an interview with Steven Silver, who of course is one of the probably the main game designer now at Multimorphic. Although he's obviously got part of a big team there in building and designing all their games, and he has been interviewed about the design of Weird Al's Museum of Natural Hilarity, as well as working at Multimorphic as part of the team there. Yeah,
there was an Extra Balls with Steven Silver interview, it's called, which you can find links on Multimorphic's Facebook page and probably other social media as well. It was quite interesting. It was very casual, but you still get some insights into the company and the design process and so on. Obviously, the design process for these games is different because the lower 2/3 of the game is already designed. So the only room,
mostly anyway.
Yeah. So there is room to maybe add a ramp or but like they did on Weird Al game. So
all right,
but it's highly recommended to watch that. So.
Okay.
And Jerry Stellenberg, the owner of the company or founder of the company, whatever you want to call it, he sent out a February update, I think it was called, today.
Mm-hmm.
So, a couple of highlights from that. Topper interface kits for limited edition kits are shipping to existing owners of older P3 machines.
Yeah, the newer P3 machines already have interface for a topper, but if you were one of the earlier buyers of the game, you will need an interface kit and wiring for that, and they are sending those out. So
excellent.
Good news there. They should be arriving with you shortly if you haven't already got it.
Right. So, and in this production update that I just mentioned, Jerry said the time for new P3 orders continues to be about 12 months. But they also hope to have all Weird Al playfield modules delivered in the next couple of months. So you wonder, what else will they be building then? Well, we know there's two games coming this year, so...
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And a little bit of information on that came in this update from Jerry, where he said that Scott Danesi is the creative director for the next game release, which will, as you just said, have its own playfield module.
Right, and Scott Danesi for those...
which they are planning to release in 2023.
Right, so, and for those who are not immediately familiar with who Scott Danesi is, well, Scott Danesi is awesome, in the first place. And he also designed a...
That's his middle name, I'm sure.
Yeah. He also designed Total Nuclear Annihilation, which was then taken into production by Spooky Pinball, and he also designed Rick and Morty for Spooky Pinball.
Yep. And is now working at Multimorphic.
Yeah, or at least for them. I'm pretty sure that Scott is also still working at Pinball Live, which is basically his full-time job, I suppose. So, and he's also making techno music and all that kind of stuff. So that's why Scott Danesi is awesome.
Well, can't argue with that.
Right.
But he's not the only one doing software, because there are new versions of the game, one of the earlier games actually for the P3, Rocks, which is a kind of asteroids type game, but played on the pinball playfield using the ball tracking technique that's built into the P3. And so these asteroid type rocks move across the screen. You shoot them with the ball, break them up into smaller bits, and then shoot the smaller bits before they collide with you. So there's a new version of that. That game has been out since, from the very earliest days of the P3 system, and it's nice to see it getting an update. And not only that, but there's an update coming for the sort of base system manager as well. So a new look for that, and also there will be an update for a code update for Weird Al as well. So expect all those coming in the next few days, I believe.
Oh, okay, cool. And that rounds it up for Multimorphic, I suppose. Yes,
indeed. So let's go back to Pinball Brothers then,
right?
Because they're, as we know, building their Queen game as well as Alien.
Right.
So those two are being built by Pedretti Gaming as part of the new collaboration they have, Euro Pinball, between Pedretti and Pinball Brothers. And there's some news on the Queen Rhapsody editions, I believe.
Well, first games have been appearing on location. There was one in Germany recently that announced that the Queen game was present, and I think they did even a stream of that. And although not exactly sure that's okay. Forget I said that, because I'm not sure that they did a stream, but they did announce that the game was at this place. Somewhere in Germany, and if you're in Germany, you probably read about it anyway.
Mm-hmm. But this was from the new factory, yes?
Yes. We've seen a small production update from Pinball Brothers, showcasing the new production area for games, which surprisingly, to me at least, didn't have it has all the games set up on trolleys, if you will, or
yeah.
But it's not like what we've seen in factory tours like Jersey Jack or Stern Pinball, where a playfield is sliding down a line.
No production line.
Yeah. No, this is more like, okay, each game is set up and the playfield is installed and they are adding to that playfield, which I'm not sure is the most convenient way, but apparently it's working for them.
Yeah. So. We also don't know quite what the production capacity is at the moment and how many they are pumping out, how many orders they have, or whether they're still early days and they're ramping up production speed. But I think we've seen this quite. It's almost like what we've seen at Spooky. You were talking about their pictures of their production,
right? Yeah,
they have all the games kind of set up in various stages of completion. You don't kind of see the production line of a playfield going down a production line having all the bits added to it, like you see it, as you say, at Stern, Jersey Jack, and American. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So, that just occurred to me. So, yeah.
Valid point.
They did release a code update for Queen. But there's obviously not that many people that get to experience it. But still, okay, bug fixes and new features and lightning effects and so on. And I'm just basically waiting to get another chance to play the game because I'm really curious to see what they are doing with it. So.
Yeah, I suspect we won't get a proper hands-on that game until we get to the Texas Pinball Festival in March.
Right. So,
which is, about 8 weeks away from now.
Okay, so I better start saving some money for a plane ticket then.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I thoroughly recommend booking early.
Oh, that's too late, I suppose.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well, so while we're on the subject of Pinball Brothers, it's Pedretti Gaming is their contract manufacturer, and there's a little bit of news from them as well. Not that much. They did announce that Funhouse 2.0 kits are back in stock. So if you were looking to buy one and you missed out because they sold out, now is your chance.
Okay, presumably bought through a distributor somewhere.
Yeah,
or directly from Pedretti. But hopefully check with your distributor to see if they have them in stock, or if not, when they're expecting to get one.
Yeah, and the kit does not come with a Funhouse game. So you have to own the game first, and then the kit makes sense. So
yes,
and I believe you have some news on Pedretti Gaming as well.
Well, I know that their next 2.0 kit is well underway and nearing completion, and I'm not at liberty to talk about what it is or any of the details of it, but I've been made party to some of the new modes, features, and display effects that are in the game. And it looks great. It's going to have quite a complex rule set, and I think I'll say no more about it other than it's when you see it revealed, there'll be plenty of happy owners who will be looking to give their game a significant update with the 2.0 kit for that game. Okay. So that should be announced before too much longer, I think.
Okay, cool. So let's move back to America, Chicago Gaming.
Yes, indeed. Well, we've reported before that Chicago Gaming are looking for a pinball technician. We can't imagine why they'd be wanting a pinball technician. I mean, it's not like they make... Oh, yeah, they do make pinballs. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, but it's like... Oh, no, let's not go there again. I mean...
Well, we are going there again, unfortunately, because they are looking for a pinball technician again.
Again
and again.
Okay. Yeah. So it could be either that the previous technician left or that they are expanding and need another one.
Yeah. So if you are a pinball technician and you would
like to work at Chicago Gaming, then here's your chance.
Yeah, get in touch, and that could be just the role for you. And another thing we mentioned before was about the Cactus Canyon Remake limited edition models, which seem to start being produced and then kind of stopped being produced. But apparently they are being made again. And,
or they just picked up production where they left off.
Yeah, well, we don't quite know why it ever stopped. but we can speculate. But
let's save that for the next topic. Yeah. So if we're going to speculate, okay. So we've been talking about. We've known about a Pulp Fiction themed game for years, I would say. We knew that it was in development, and everybody was denying it, and still nobody confirms it, but everybody is... Well, it's sort of like a public secret that there is a Pulp Fiction themed pinball machine, single-level game, most likely designed by Mike Ritchie to be released or produced, manufactured, whatever you want to call it, by Chicago Gaming. Although it doesn't have to be exactly a Chicago Gaming game, but they could be the contract manufacturer for it for a different manufacturer. Rumor has it that game, of which everybody is denying it exists, is to be shown at the Texas Pinball Festival at the end of March.
Yes. Now, whether it will be shown on the show floor, or whether it will be in a hotel room or in a conference room somewhere for private viewings, we don't know. But we don't know anything about this because it's all a rumor at the moment.
Right.
But certainly. There's a history of Mark Ritchie collaborating with the Texas Pinball Festival on new titles.
Right. Cosmic Chaos comes to mind.
Cosmic Chaos, indeed, was a concept produced and shown purely as a cabinet and a playfield glass with some artwork on it.
Yeah, and a back glass.
And a back glass, yeah, which... the idea is that it might go into production, but I don't think it ever has or ever will. But you never know. Never say never.
Yeah.
But that was a Mark Ritchie concept and worked through with Ed Van der Veen of Texas Pinball Festival and the crew there. So, it wouldn't be the first time that a Mark Ritchie concept game has been previewed at Texas Pinball Festival. And so maybe this year...
Yeah,
there'll be another one.
Well, we've also seen Kingpin being showcased there.
True.
As a prototype for Circus Maximus. No news on that, by the way, so we can cross that off the list of...
Yeah, put that down as no news.
Yeah. But there is a little history indeed. So,
of course, we will be reporting on everything that happens at the Texas Pinball Festival in our April PINcast, where we look back at what happened in March.
So, and maybe this year we'll try to record some interviews. We say that every year, it never happens. But
there's always so much else to do at shows like the Texas Pinball Festival.
Yeah. But
last year we tried. We did try, didn't we?
Yeah. Last year I had a great time with Steve Ritchie.
Yes.
I think up into the really early hours in the morning.
And again after the show. But we can't talk much more about that because that's off the record stuff.
Yeah. Well, we recorded a great interview with Steve Ritchie actually after the show, which we then re-recorded. And you can still listen to that in our backlog of files, which you can find on all the streaming services and so on, I suppose. So.
Yeah, the same place you're listening to this. You should be able to, or downloaded this from. You should be able to find our Steve Ritchie interview from. I guess it's from last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
April or May, something like that. So.
Yeah. So anyway, so moving on. Yep.
Moving on. Okay, let's all the way to Taiwan.
Yes, for our third headline.
Yes.
All about Homepin. And as we know, Homepin have been developing and still are developing, we believe, the This Is Spinal Tap game, which has had a curious launch, showing up at a show in Australia, the Pinfest in Melbourne.
Newcastle,
right, sorry.
Yeah.
Newcastle. And
2 games.
After that...
the game sort of disappeared.
Yeah. No one talking about it.
We haven't seen it
promoting it.
Yeah, no social media posts or anything. So as I was preparing for this recording, I actually reached out to Mike Kalinowski, the owner of Homepin, and I asked him about how come it's so silent about This Is Spinal Tap.
And what did he say?
Well, I have to quote him on this because else I might get the wording wrong. So I'll just quote what he wrote back to me. He said, the explanation is easy. He cannot get staff is one, and second, we have been trying to book a time to have the CE testing done, but keep having trouble as the machine has to be set up by us and 2 days later removed by us, and the testing can only be done in Taipei, which is at the other end of the country. Things are on the up, however, as we now have several suitable job candidates. Before Lunar New Year, nobody ever changes jobs because they expect and usually get large red envelopes with at least a month's pay, so they all hang out for that and won't even look for another job. This has been a timing problem, I suppose. It's something I was aware of but failed to act on early enough, so it's bad planning on my part. This is purely an Asian thing. It causes trouble every year, and I should have been on top of it. And it's a slow period gearing up, but still the extra time has allowed us to improve a few small software issues and a couple of small playfield tweaks. Things we've learned from exhibiting at PinFest Australia. And end of quote.
Okay. So, it doesn't really explain why nobody's doing any marketing on the game. You'd think I think the distributors would be pushing it.
Charge of So
I mean, there obviously are games out there, but maybe they're having significant changes to the playfield and the software, and they're waiting to get a representative sample game.
Well, for now, I'd say we wait until we see when the games are actually back into production and shipping out.
but they presumably only going to be producing them once they got orders, and they're not going to get orders if they're not promoting it.
Yeah, makes sense. And then again, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to build a couple and put them on the floor at distributors.
Oh yeah, and shows. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
The world. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's how you're going to get the word out. But
right. And there's more. There's more news from Homepin actually.
Oh right, okay. Well, what have they been doing? They haven't been making Spinal Tap games.
Well, they did show some pictures and a video of a test set of chaser lights for Data East Star Trek 25th anniversary game. As you know, Homepin is also known for reproducing pinball parts that are difficult to find, and apparently these chaser lights for this Data East Star Trek game are rather rare to find, and they're looking to reproduce them, but that will depend on the demand. So if you own a Star Trek game and you're missing your chaser lights, this might be your chance. Reach out to Homepin, and who knows, you might be getting a set, or you'll be able to buy a set. I'm sure it's not going to be given away. No,
let them know that the demand is there.
Right, exactly. And that rounds it up for Homepin for the month of January, I suppose.
Okay, well, good luck to them in getting their new staff and also getting their game tested, CE testing completed, so they can start shipping games internationally, because when you're in Taiwan, I guess pretty much every game is shipped internationally.
Right, yeah. It's
Okay, so another company which is making games but not actually shipping any yet is Pinball Adventures, based up in Vancouver, in British Columbia.
Yes.
So they've been they always use Instagram as their main social media outlet, and they've been busy on there as well, have they?
Yeah, well, they posted several images, but the most interesting I found was a video in which they use a voiceover, either talent or some sort of voiceover, and they were basically asked about the recent delays in the reveal of Bunny Factory, and apparently that is due to them developing a new rail system for their playfields to slide in their cabinets. And that doesn't mean how the playfield should slide into the cabinet, but it's actually, as you might remember from those older Bally games, the 1980s ones and so on, you pull the playfield forward. Once you lift it up, you move it forward, and then you let it rest on the back box, so you sort of tip it over. And for Bunny Factory, they designed a whole rail system so you can ride it over instead of just pull it forward. So sounds to me like a very luxury,
over-engineered, maybe.
Yeah. Possibly, I'm getting sort of deep root reflexes and or deja vu's and that kind of thing. So, yeah. But
I have to admit that's not a part of the pinball ecosystem that you would think would need redeveloping.
No,
it seems to be well established, and people know how it works. But
it's not something that you'd sell a game on, I'd say.
No. True. No, we don't sell what's under the playfield, let alone what the playfield rolls in and out on.
Yeah, so, there's a video where you can see how it works, where you see the small wheels rolling on the rails. Check out Pinball Adventures on Instagram for that. And that's the most important news, I say. Okay. The reveal apparently is supposed to be soon, but still no date was mentioned.
Yeah.
And I sort of wonder, like with all these updates on Instagram, is there anything that we haven't seen yet on the game?
Gameplay.
Yeah, okay, that's one
gameplay
thing.
Video, which seems to be quite common these days, not to have that available at launch. It's one of the things everybody wants, but it's kind of held back for a few weeks.
So still, I have to applaud them for going with an original theme. These days, because not many pinball companies do that. And now let's just hope that it's something that people like and can relate to and want to own. And
find fun.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Good. Okay, so moving to your home country, any news from Barry at Dutch Pinball?
Yeah, not much. I reached out to him. He didn't have any news to report, but there is a company called Pinball Dreams from Belgium. I don't think they're related to Pinball Dreams in Germany, who visited the Dutch Pinball Factory recently, and they shared their photos on their Facebook page, which is nice, but it still looked like the same factory that, you and I have been to. And no news or nothing new to discover on these pictures, but still, they're building games. Probably not at the pace that they want to, but still, they're building games, and
they are slowly fulfilling the promises to the early achievers. Apparently, their games.
Well, the goal is to deliver games to all early achievers this year, but I think that has been the goal for the past 2 or 3 years as well.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes. I'm still waiting for my game, so fingers crossed.
We will know when when they made progress on that then.
Yeah, I've probably been busy playing it.
Exactly. Okay. So Jersey Jack Pinball then.
Yeah, that's a company that we usually mention early on, but what happens is if a company has a game which they are building for a very long time, there's not that much news to report, and that's exactly what's happening right now with Jersey Jack Pinball. They're still building Toy Story 4, They
and
also
Guns N'
have
Roses, of course.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say they also have Guns N' Roses available if you're interested in that. And as far as new games, there's not that much to report. So, what is there to report?
Well, really just apparel, really, from the company. They've been doing a series of T-shirts, which the first of which was released to coincide with Pinball Expo last year, 2022 Expo, which was a sort of black cat design with Pinball Expo lettering on it, and this came from Christopher Franchi, who we know very well as a prolific and talented pinball artist, as well as doing multiple other artwork for movies and posters and things like that.
And various pinball companies.
Indeed, yeah. And the second T-shirt in the series was a sort of Cyclops Medusa mashup T-shirt, which...
So she only had one eye?
Well, Cyclops Medusa doesn't have any eyes, but that T-shirt was available along with the Pinball Expo one, from pinballwizard.com, which is the merchandise website for Jersey Jack Pinball. And now there is a new third T-shirt in the series. Yep, called Mothman Pinball, which is based around the Mothman character. And
never heard of it.
No, well, you will now. And it's a sort of like a Mothman pinball design on the T-shirt, which is also from Chris Franchi, also $25, available from pinballwizard.com. You can look at that, and the Black Cat and the Cyclops Medusa shirt, and order them from pinballwizard.com.
Okay, I don't think we ever talked that much about merchandise in all our episodes.
Well, it shows you that there's not much more news coming from Jersey Jack Pinball, but there is one more thing, though.
Yeah, what I understood from Jack Guarnieri, the founder of the company, is that he is looking to attend the trade show Enada in Rimini, which is in March, I believe. And he's also looking to attend Flip Expo in France.
Yes, that's the last weekend in April, I believe.
Yeah, that's, I think, the 28th and 29th of April, or at least that weekend, if I get the date wrong.
I think that's right.
Yeah, so now the last time that Jack was attending the Flip Expo in France, that was actually when Willy Wonka was revealed.
That's right, yes, and there was much,
which makes me
much
wonder,
drinking of champagne and eating of chocolate.
Yeah, in the storage area behind the stage.
Well, also eating of chocolate at the game, of course.
Yeah.
The Wonka bars.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was great. Yeah, I had lots of those.
I know you did. Believe it or not, I still got some.
Yeah. So, no, it made me wonder, since the last time Jack was there, a new game was revealed. Could that be the case this year again?
Is that why Jack is coming to the Flip Expo show?
Well, who knows? We should ask Jack, but I don't think he's going to...
spill the beans, maybe. No.
Yeah, no. So, but it just made me wonder. So
the timing would certainly be about right.
It's not a rumor.
Well,
it's just something. Well, I didn't mean to start a rumor. It just made me wonder, like, if Jack is coming, could there be a new game launch? I don't know whether that show is actually coinciding with another show in the US, like we had with Willy Wonka, because. So, if that's the case, then, well, could be interesting.
Which show was it? It was wasn't the Allentown show, was it? It was the same time.
No, I don't remember.
Wasn't Pintastic?
That might have been the case.
I think that's now in June, so I don't know. But
there's this website that I check for pinball shows. Yeah. I'm looking at that right now.
Let's see. Yes, that's the end of April. Chicagoland shows that weekend.
Yes, exactly. And Pinball at the Zoo. That's the weekend.
That's only a collection show.
Yeah.
So. No, there isn't one at the same time. But so anyway, let's leave that out there. We'll update you on that if we get any more hints or tips about whether that could be the launch pad for a new Jersey Jack pinball title.
Right, okay. Now, I believe you have some news on Deep Root Pinball / Turner Pinball. Not that they are related.
No, absolutely not. No, this is just Deep Root Pinball. And, it's been fairly busy on the legal side of things. Fairly boring, really, unless it doesn't really
keep
relate
it short
directly
I'm already
to the pinball
tired.
side of things. Yeah, well, me too. So let's just say the SEC, they launched their case against Deep Root family of companies and Robert Mueller, and looks like they've sort of wrapped up all the stuff to do with the Deep Root companies, and just leaving the Robert Mueller case as outstanding in many senses. And now, trying to remember exactly what it was that was agreed. It says they came to a court-approved agreement statement saying that none of the companies would do any more illegal activities. Well, I mean, given that they don't exist anymore. So that's not really going to happen. And also agreed that Deep Root Pinball and Deep Root Studios shouldn't have received the funding that they got from the investment funds. To the tune of $12 million for Deep Root Pinball and $4 million for Deep Root Studios. And the SEC would wrap up that part of their case. The case against Robert personally appears to still be ongoing. However, after all that was done and dusted and looked like it was wrapped up, Robert Mueller's attorney then objected, saying he doesn't admit to any wrongdoing by himself or his companies, and therefore doesn't agree to the statement of settlement with the SEC. Presumably, this is to avoid self-incriminating in advance of any criminal case by the FBI. In a separate event, a woman called Pamela Hopman and her company, PGH Advisors LLC, have been ordered.
Heard of Pamela?
Oh, you will. No, you won't, because she's been ordered to pay restitution of $410,000 and a $35,000 administrative penalty, i.e. a fine, for dishonest and unethical conduct in selling securities. They found that she and her company had sold at least $1.5 million worth of securities from a company called Deep Root and its affiliates to her advisory clients who believed they were buying life settlement products, which, as we know, was where the money went to fund the pinball and studios side of things, amongst other things, which we probably shouldn't mention in case they turn out to be legally problematic. So anyway, she's been fined basically for selling Deep Root products which weren't invested as they were meant to be invested. So this whole fallout seems to expand beyond just the immediate Deep Root companies as well, themselves, and also to the companies and the people who were selling their products.
Right, and does that mean that this $410,000 is going back to the people who originally invested, bought these products? Or investments?
Yes, well, it should be, because it's restitution. So it should go to the people, but only to the people who bought through her company,
right?
PGH Advisors. Okay. The $35,000 administrative penalty, I guess, just goes into central funds.
So, and it's not like this Pamela Hopman and her company, PGH Advisors, immediately go into bankruptcy so they don't have to pay.
No, I don't think so. No, I think they probably just take that one on the chin and move on, or repeal, or I suspect, given the way that the speed at which the legal system works in not just in America but most countries, that would probably go to appeal and be tied up in legal red tape for months, if not years, to come.
Right. Okay.
So anyway, I thought I'd mention those two little nuggets of Deep Root news. Only marginally
little
related.
Nuggets. You've been talking for 50 minutes about those.
Okay, well, main course and entree and desserts. Then there you go.
Okay, so
let's get on to the cheese.
I was actually going to Bitronic, if you don't mind.
Oh no, okay, fine. Yep, okay, nothing cheesy there.
No. But it's actually something that you probably should talk about because much to my surprise, and probably to the surprise of others as well, they were exhibiting at the EAG Expo in London.
Yes, indeed. Stern were not the only pinball manufacturers at the show. Yeah, Bittronic, as you said, were at EAG International Expo, and they had their Super Hoop machine there. In fact, they had two of them.
How super!
Yeah, one was playable, and the other was used as a demonstration machine. So basically,
intentionally not. Yeah.
Well, yeah, whether it was broken and then repurposed for that purpose, I don't know. But only one of them was actually powered on, it seemed. But the other one was set up with the playfield up, so you could look at it and see how it was constructed. And we enjoyed playing the working one. It seemed very similar to the code that we'd seen when the show was at the UK Pinfest show in Daventry back in August. And talking to Bittronic, it turns out they do have new code for that game, which adds some new lighting effects to it. But for some reason, that code wasn't on the machine that was on their stand, which was kind of a shame. Maybe it's not quite finished, or maybe there are a few bugs in there they want to iron out before it's made public. But
right.
So there are some new lighting effects coming. I suppose I would say that the lighting did look a bit different. The GI lighting did look slightly better this time, but I still find the centre of the playfield very dark, and I think it could do with some more general illumination, maybe in the same sort of kind of way that Stern had been doing it, by putting sort of spotlights in the bottom arch of the game, so it illuminates a bit above the flippers.
Okay,
it's on the slingshots or something, just to make the central area a bit lighter, I think, because at the moment it can be quite hard to see the ball movement if you're playing it in a darkened room. But
okay.
Anyway, it was nice to see Bittronic there. They also had some other games, one of which I mentioned in my EAG International Expo report on the Pinball News site. So you can go and see the Super Hoop machines. You can look under the playfield, see how they're built, and inside the cabinet, and see the other games that are on Bittronic stand.
Okay, so moving on to American Pinball.
Yes, American Pinball. They must have lots of news.
Well, sadly, no.
Oh, okay.
No, the only thing they sort of shared on their socials in January was an unboxing and gameplay video of the classic edition of Legends of Valhalla.
Ah, right. Okay, that's we've mentioned that in the past, and I think we've seen pictures of the classic version, which is the sort of cost-reduced base level version of the game.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it plays very nicely, and it was really just cosmetically different. I don't think there's anything substantially different in the build of the playfield.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So, and there's a couple of other companies that have really no news whatsoever, including Circus Maximus that we already mentioned, STR Pinball in Spain. Although I'm not even sure why we are listing them, because they are no longer building games for Quetzal Pinball, which is the next company that has no news to report. And Quetzal is, as you might know, the company that designed the Super Hoop game that we just talked about, and also the next game from Bittronic, Tokyo Perfect Drift, is designed by Quetzal Pinball. So,
indeed,
yeah. So Haggis Pinball in Australia, no news as well. Hopefully, they're still building the Fathom
revisited version. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah. It seemed to be very quiet on all social media and indeed communication with customers at the moment. So, which of course sparks lots of rumours about they might be in trouble, either financially or in supply chain issues. But for a company which started off in the pinball business with such regular and frequent updates via their social media and videos on YouTube, and they since they've started producing the Fathom game, it's been very, very quiet indeed. So we keep our fingers crossed and hope everything's going well for Damien and the team.
Yeah. Okay. So I was about to move to the next subject, but My phone is ringing.
Oh,
as you can hear.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we know who that's going to be then.
Yeah. Well, our good friend Gary Frau. Hold on. It stopped ringing.
Oh, he hasn't rung off, has he?
No. My phone has gone into an update. It seems.
Oh.
It's just rebooting, and it's updating.
Oh.
Android, I think, or something.
Great time to do a software update in the middle, just as you're about to receive a phone call.
Right. So,
okay. Well, sorry about
that. Apologies to Gary. Can't answer your call right now.
Apologies to our listeners as well. We have to wait for that software update to go through before you can. We can try again.
Not that much news. I doubt my phone will be ready by the time we get finished, but we'll see.
Okay.
So, because all I have left is some other news.
Okay, let's have the other news then.
Well, what I found personally rather interesting, Brian Allen, who is running Flyland Design, as you may know, has already done some artwork based on older Williams titles and
sort of reimagining, I suppose, of the artwork. Mm-hmm.
He now produced a 7-piece licensed artwork for Theater of Magic, which includes inner cabinet artwork, so you can really customize your game and give the cabinet a complete new look. With cabinet decals, a back glass, decals for the side of the back box.
Mm-hmm.
It looks rather fresh, I would say.
Yeah, it was certainly different. In a way, it kind of follows in the same vein as his previous work for things like Attack from Mars, where it's sort of based around the same composition as the original, but with a different feel to the way the characters, and some new characters in there as well, and some of the way the objects are depicted, and given Brian's very, very unique style. So if you're a fan of his previous work, I'm sure you will love what he's done with Theatre of Magic.
Right. So
Flyland Design, if you want to go and check that out. As you said just now, it's fully licensed through Planetary.
Yeah, so we mentioned the EAG Expo a couple of times. You've been at the show. Were there any other pinball-related items or games or what have you on the show?
No, it was actually. I mean, if it hadn't been for Bictronic, it would have been sort of pretty uninteresting all round. The games I'd seen all. Wasn't like was playing any of them for the first time, but it was nice to be able to have two manufacturers there at least. To answer your question in brief, no, there were no other direct pinball elements at the show except for a toy pinball game, which was on one of the vendors' stands who sell redemption type products.
Right. Okay.
That was it.
Right. Okay. Now, usually we don't address rumors. There's one that crossed that I came across, and I think I mentioned here. There's a rumor that a pinball manufacturer has ordered 1,500 ramps for Twilight Zone, which would indicate that a company would be attempting to take Twilight Zone back into production in sort of a remake. What do you make of that?
Well, I'm skeptical, shall we say, because for a number of reasons. First of all, you would imagine that if anybody's going to be remaking Twilight Zone, it would be Chicago Gaming, who remade all the other Williams-Bally remakes, unless someone else has been licensed to do this. And as we know, Chicago Gaming are already busy building not only the current run of Cactus Canyon games, but they also have future titles already lined up, and we don't think Twilight Zone is part of that, including their own in-house design.
Right.
So you would think they would have enough on their plate already.
Right.
Twilight Zone, obviously an expensive game to make. It was expensive the first time round. It was really expensive to remake it now. There are lots of them around if you want one. I can't imagine you'd have that much of a problem getting one. And I don't know, it just seems like a strange title to pick for a remake. It's a wide-bodied game as well, so it doesn't even fit in the standard cabinets. Although for Chicago Gaming, that wouldn't be a problem because they make their own cabinets.
Right.
So they can make any size cabinet. But I don't know. If the order is confirmed, then I guess somebody's going to do something with those ramps. But I don't know why you if it was Chicago Gaming and they're not going to be making the game for 3 years, why would they want to buy 1,500 ramps now?
Right.
Makes no sense to me.
Okay, so well, let's leave it at that because I guess that rounds it up.
I think it does actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, thank you very much for joining us for this January 2023 PINcast. We hope you enjoyed listening and getting up to date with all the latest news from the pinball industry. Obviously, you can check out all our reports on things that we've covered here and in upcoming news on the Pinball Magazine website at pinball-magazine.com and at Pinball News at pinballnews.com.
Right.
And we will be back, of course, at the end of February, end of this month.
Which is a short month, so
it is, yeah.
Quicker than you think.
Wow, okay. We better start making notes for next month's PINcast straight away then.
Yes.
And, so we'll be back at the start of March to look back at all the excitement that took place in the pinball world in February. So until then, from me, Martin Ayub of Pinball News, and
Jonathan Joosten of Pinball Magazine.
Yeah, we wish you a very enjoyable and productive February, and we will see you again at the start of March. So until then, it's goodbye from me.
And from me. Bye.
Bye.